Stop. Are you still waiting for them to pay? Still checking their social media? Still hoping the universe will deliver the kind of brutal, theatrical revenge that finally gives you peace? Then you're still losing, because the pain they inflicted on you is nothing compared to the prison you build for yourself when you wait for justice. I'm talking about the person who lied, the one who stole, the one who tried to shatter your life. They walked away, they seemed to win, and you were left with the wreckage. But the great Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they knew a secret. They knew that the true victory, the one that makes you utterly unbreakable, is not found in their suffering, but in your own unshakable peace. That desire for revenge is a chain. It keeps you connected to your abuser, trapping your future in the shadow of their past actions. The Stoic path, however, offers liberation. It offers a victory so complete, so definitive, that the actions of your enemy become entirely irrelevant. Today we are not looking for signs of karma punishing them. We are looking at the proof of Stoicism already saving you. We are going to uncover 10 distinct, powerful victories that are entirely within your control. These are the victories that prove you have not just survived the storm, but you have become stronger than the sea itself. And if you stay with me until the very end, I will reveal the greatest Stoic paradox that instantly disarms any enemy. Before we dive into the first victory, a quick challenge. If you've ever felt the urge for revenge, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's build a community of Stoic victors. And right now in the comments, type the word unbroken to commit to this journey. Let us begin this journey of self-reclamation. Let us claim the victories they never wanted you to have. Victory 1. The liberation from expectation. The first and most immediate victory is the liberation from expectation. When someone hurts us, our pain often isn't just about the action itself, but the shattering of an internal narrative. They shouldn't have done that. They owe me an apology. They must face consequences. This reliance on their external behavior for your internal peace is a form of self-imprisonment. Epictetus taught us the fundamental separation, what is ours and what is not. Your enemy's character, their moral fiber, their remorse, their downfall, all of it is not yours. It is external. It is the property of their nature and the workings of the universe. Your victory begins the moment you truly, profoundly internalize this truth. When you stop waiting for them to pay, to apologize, or to fail, you cut the final emotional cord. You declare, my peace is not contingent on your justice. This is a sovereign act of the soul. They might have stolen your trust, but they cannot steal your autonomy over your own mind. That realization that you are free from needing anything from them is the cornerstone of Stoic power. The Stoic understands that demanding a moral person to act immorally is like demanding a fig tree to bear grapes. It is a futile effort that only produces frustration. Once you accept their flawed nature as a fact of the external world, you cease to be their victim and become your own ruler. Victory 2. The unconquerable inner citadel. The second victory is the construction of your unconquerable inner citadel. The enemy's goal was not just to cause pain, but to cause doubt, to make you question your worth, your judgment, or your entire life's direction. The immediate Stoic response is to turn inward and fortify your core beliefs. They attack the external you, your reputation, your relationship, your position, but they can only damage the internal you, your character, if you grant them permission. This victory is achieved by a relentless focus on virtue, justice, temperance, wisdom, and courage. When you dedicate yourself to acting justly, responding temperately, judging wisely, and enduring courageously, their actions become a mere test, not a defining crisis. Every time you choose a virtuous response over a bitter or reckless one, you reinforce your citadel. You are saying, what you did was wrong, but it will not define my future character. This is the ultimate rejection of their power. They wanted you to descend to their level. Your victory is choosing to ascend to a higher moral ground. You rebuild yourself not with bricks of resentment, but with the granite of principle. This is the strength that shines through. You don't need to justify yourself to others, you only need to justify your conduct to your own highest standards. If you're finding strength in these ancient ideas, don't forget to subscribe for more practical Stoicism. Victory 3. The Alchemy of Perspective. Premeditation of Evils. The third victory is the alchemy of perspective. This is where the Stoic turns poison into medicine. The wrong done to you is a fact, a painful, regrettable fact. But the meaning you assign to that fact is entirely up to you. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, prepares you for exactly this kind of hardship. Your enemy presented you with an opportunity disguised as an attack. What did their betrayal reveal? It revealed the limits of your trust. It exposed a weakness in your boundaries. It showed you the true character of someone you needed to remove from your life. This knowledge, this clarity, is priceless. It is a lesson you could only have learned through pain. The victory here is the profound gratitude for the clarity you received. You can thank the offender not for the pain, but for the lesson. You are now wiser, more discerning, and more cautious. You have a heightened ability to judge character. This is an asset, a form of spiritual wealth that they can never take away. The moment you see their cruel action not as a personal curse, but as a universal training exercise, a philosophical sparring match, you have won the battle for meaning. This shift in perspective is so powerful that it drains the emotional charge from the memory, transforming it from a source of trauma into a foundation of resilience. Victory 4. The severing of emotional investment. The fourth victory is the severing of emotional investment. The person who wronged you needs your reaction, your anger, your sadness, your outrage. That is the currency they trade in. It validates their power over you. Your greatest act of resistance is the conscious withdrawal of that validation. When you hold on to resentment, you allow them free rent in your mind. You are, in effect, drinking poison and hoping they will get sick. The Stoic victory is realizing that your emotional energy is a finite resource, too precious to spend on someone who has already proven they are unworthy of it. This is not about pretending to be happy or suppressing your feelings. It is about a disciplined, rational process of emotional triage. You acknowledge the hurt, you process the feelings, and then you deliberately let them go, choosing to invest that energy instead in your own growth, your relationships of true integrity, and your worthwhile projects. Every moment spent not thinking of them, not wishing them ill, not replaying the scenario, that is a micro-victory. The ultimate punishment you can inflict upon a wrongdoer is to become so happy and productive that they genuinely cease to exist in the landscape of your conscious life. Your indifference is your power. If this idea resonates, let me know in the comments by typing indifference. Victory 5. The elevation of compassion over condemnation. The fifth, and perhaps most challenging victory, is the elevation of compassion over condemnation. This is not forgiveness in the traditional sense, but a rational, stoic understanding of human error. No one chooses to be vicious because they believe it is good or rational. They act from ignorance, confusion, or weakness. When you see the person who hurt you not as a demon, but as a deeply flawed, possibly tormented human being, trapped in their own moral error, you gain an immediate, powerful advantage: clarity. Their action, which you took as a reflection of your worth, is revealed to be a reflection of their fundamental disorder. This detached compassion, this rational pity, completely disarms their action. It transforms the feeling of "I was betrayed" into "I encountered a person who suffers from poor character." By refusing to hate them, you deny them the satisfaction of dragging you down into their own moral mud. You choose to remain clean, clear, and elevated. This is not for their benefit, It is purely for the preservation of your own soul. The moment you realize they are already suffering the consequences of their character flaws, a suffering far greater than any external punishment, you are free. The Stoic sees the wrongdoer as a patient with a moral illness. You wouldn't hate a feverish person, you would pity them. Extend that same rational distance to the moral sickness of your enemy. And if you haven't yet, take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. Victory 6. The uninterrupted pursuit of your true self. The sixth victory is the uninterrupted pursuit of your true self. When harm comes, it can be a massive distraction, a vortex that sucks all your time, energy, and focus. You spend months arguing the case in your head, planning countermoves or obsessing over their life. This is the real loss. The Stoic counter-strategy is radical self-focus. What is your telos, your ultimate purpose? Is it to be bitter, to be vengeful, or is it to cultivate wisdom, contribute to the community, and master your inner world? Your victory is measured by how quickly you pivot from reacting to their actions to advancing your own life's mission. Every hour you spend reading, learning, creating, serving, or building healthy relationships is an hour stolen from the shadow of the past. Your enemy wanted you to stop growing, to be crippled by their malice. By becoming relentlessly productive and prioritizing your philosophical development, you are declaring that their actions were a minor footnote in the epic narrative of your life. This is the active victory. You don't just survive, you thrive because of the resilience the challenge forced you to develop. Let them be defined by their destructive past. You will be defined by your constructive future. That is a difference in quality of life that no amount of revenge can ever replicate. Victory 7. The ultimate Stoic paradox, the denial of meaning. And this brings us to the seventh and most devastating victory, the ultimate Stoic paradox. This is the final total surrender to rational indifference. We've talked about removing emotional investment, but this goes deeper. It is the denial of any significant meaning whatsoever to their actions. The person who hurt you is a speck in the universe, their life a brief candle, their actions a momentary tremor in the vastness of time. By the time the universe is done, their actions, and your pain will be utterly erased. To grant such a transient, tiny event the power to derail your entire existence is a failure of perspective. The ultimate victory is realizing that the actions of your enemy are, in the grand scheme of the cosmos, meaningless. They hold no power over your virtue, which is your only true possession. They are an external, morally indifferent event, like rain or traffic. The moment you classify their malice not as a life-altering tragedy, but as a mild inconvenience, a mere preferred indifferent lost, you achieve a state of sublime, untouchable peace. They thought they were the main character in your downfall. Your ultimate victory is making them an uncredited extra in your heroic story. Their importance fades to zero. That is the perfect, unassailable, and total win. Victory 8. The refusal of self-pity, the power of the Prohairesis. Narrator. We move now into the higher echelons of Stoic self-mastery. The eighth victory is the refusal of self-pity. When a wrong occurs, the natural human reaction is to dwell on the injustice, to assume the role of the victim, and to let the sorrow paralyze you. But self-pity is a narcotic. It feels comforting, but it is deeply corrosive, stealing your present strength and blinding you to your future potential. Epictetus provided us with the ultimate tool against this paralysis, the prohairesis, or the moral purpose. This is the faculty of choice, the single thing within your absolute control. Your enemy might have controlled an external event, the betrayal, the loss, but they can never, under any circumstances, control how you choose to interpret or respond to that event. Your victory is achieved when you consciously reject the label of victim. You recognize the external facts, but you refuse to let those facts define your internal state. You stand up and say, "I was hurt, But I am not broken. I have the power to choose my next step, and I choose to act justly, wisely, and with dignity. By refusing self-pity, you deny your enemy the one enduring power they craved, the power to diminish your spirit. This refusal is an active, moment-by-moment declaration of independence. You prove that your character is not a fragile object determined by others' malice, but a fortress secured by your own unbreakable will. In the comments below, let me know if you agree. Type Prohairesis if you believe your power of choice is the ultimate defense. Victory 9. The mastery of the inner dialogue, the discipline of assent. Narrator. The 9th victory is the mastery of the inner dialogue, achieved through the Stoic discipline of assent. When the enemy has done their worst, they may be physically gone, but their voice often remains, not theirs, but the toxic commentary your mind generates in the wake of the trauma. You were foolish. You deserved it. You will never trust again. These are not facts. They are impressions or fantasia in the Stoic view. This victory demands radical vigilance. You must become the gatekeeper of your own mind. Every impression that rushes in, especially the ones based on fear, anger, or self-condemnation, must be paused and questioned. Is this true? Is this helpful? Does this reflect my highest virtue? The betrayal was an action. The internal commentary is your reaction. If you assent, agree to the impression that you are ruined, then you are ruined. If you withhold assent and rationally counter that impression with truth, that was an external event. My worth is intrinsic. Then their power collapses. This is the hidden battleground. Your enemy only truly wins if they successfully colonize your thoughts. By mastering your inner dialogue and withholding assent from destructive narratives, you execute the final, total purge. You restore silence, clarity, and truth to your inner citadel. This victory ensures that you are ruled by reason, not by the emotional echoes of past pain. Victory 10. The generosity of forgiveness, the practice of non-reciprocity. Narrator. The 10th and final victory is the generosity of forgiveness, understood not as a sentimental gesture, but as the rigorous Stoic practice of non-reciprocity. To forgive for the Stoic is not to excuse the wrong or to embrace the wrongdoer. It is the rational decision to cancel a debt owed, not for the sake of the debtor, but for the liberation of the creditor, you. Holding on to the requirement for repayment, whether emotional, financial, or karmic, keeps your energetic life force tethered to the person who harmed you. Forgiveness is the act of consciously cutting that anchor line. Seneca reminds us that seeking revenge makes us the enemy's copy. We descend to their level by adopting their vice, the desire to inflict harm. Your victory is the refusal to reciprocate their vice with your own bitterness. You recognize that they have already inflicted the greatest harm on themselves by corrupting their own character. Your true strength is demonstrated by your ability to rise above, not by your ability to drag them down. By choosing forgiveness, you complete the process of self-healing. You proclaim that your past pain has no power to dictate your future capacity for peace and generosity. This is the final, supreme act of autonomy. It is the proof that you have achieved the unbreakable shield, a soul that can encounter malice, yet emerge from the darkness brighter and more whole than before. If you commit to this final freedom, subscribe now and let the healing begin. Let us bring this home. The person who hurt you will, by the very laws of human nature, inflict on themselves a punishment far more brutal than anything you could devise. They will be punished by their own character, by their guilt, their suspicion, their isolation, and the endless corrosive knowledge of their own actions. But your focus must not be on their punishment. Your focus must be on your tenfold victory, the complete sovereignty you claimed over your own soul, the liberation from expectation, the unconquerable inner citadel, the alchemy of perspective, the severing of emotional investment, the elevation of compassion over condemnation, the uninterrupted pursuit of your true self, the ultimate denial of meaning, the refusal of self-pity, the mastery of the inner dialogue, the generosity of forgiveness. The true Stoic strength lies not in surviving the attacks of others, but in utilizing those attacks to become a wiser, more disciplined, and more powerful version of yourself. Your enemy has done you a favor. They tested your steel, and by choosing the path of virtue, you have proven that your shield is not just strong, it is unbreakable. So, let them do what they will. Your task is simpler, yet infinitely harder. Be a good human being. That is the best revenge. That is the final word. If this message has helped you pivot from pain to power, share your victory. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe and join our community of wisdom. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 Stoic victories are you claiming today? Drop a comment below and tell me your commitment word: virtue or resilience. Remember, life always balances the scales, but you don't have to wait for it. Rise.